Hello and good evening to another GlenAllachie Thursday night lockdown session. Your host again for this evening is unfortunately myself, Ben Chambers. So I'm the UK sales manager for GlenAllachie, and this evening I am joined by Karen. Karen is our visitor centre and shop manager on site, and tonight we're going to go through a few different drams. We've got Karen's favourite, GlenAllachie, and we also have the two new hand-fills which have been done for the relaunch of the visitor centre and shop. So we're going to taste through the three of those whiskies this evening. Whoops, I'm knocking glasses and bottles together. And yeah, tell you a little bit about the things we've got in store coming up over the summer, a little bit of background on Karen and things like that. And as usual, any questions, anything you want to discuss, please just throw it in the comments section, and we'll go from there.
Perfect.
Right. Don't spill. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. It was the bottle of the 15-year-old that I just bashed across the table for those that caught that on their mics as well. So, Karen, well, it's great to have you back. It's wonderful to have you back. I mean, when I joined back in March, I think we met once or twice very briefly.
Yeah, we did.
And bang, we were thrown into lockdown. I was relegated back to my house to work and look after the UK from there. And unfortunately, with the distillery and visitor centre and things closing, you kind of had the same.
Yeah.
What did you get up to?
Just lots and lots of different things. It's amazing how the time flew past, to be quite honest. Had a good sort out amongst my whisky collection. That took a good few days, which was good. Didn't realise how much of a hoarder I am, but it was nice to get it arranged. I've also been doing quite a lot of home improvements. So when I took over, when I bought the house here a year ago, it's just been totally mad busy taking the job on at GlenAllachie at the same time. So everything was kind of getting out of hand. So I got lots of renovations done, and just spending time with the horse and the dogs and the new additions. So it's been quite good. Been enjoying that. What about yourself? Were you busy?
I think my entire lockdown just about was spent in the garden when I wasn't working, of course. It was. We were quite lucky to have that April, May, June of pretty fine weather, and then July hit, and was it 16 days of rain so far, something like that?
I think pretty much. Just need to move to Speyside. We've not had that much rain here at all. It's 22 degrees today.
Oh, I'll do it in a heartbeat. No problem.
Just come up. Just move up. Good whiskey, good weather, eh?
I think we've got to say hi to a few people. There's lots of people tuning in, which is great to see. Particularly people that sort of know and sort of are used to. I think you're used to seeing.
Oh goodness, it's there.
As well as sort of retailers and importers and all sorts of things that I'm seeing. So, Jeremy Watt, I'm sure you'll recognise that name.
Hello, Jeremy. How are you doing?
There's a gentleman called John Creasy, who you may or may not know. I know he's appeared at quite a few of our tastings. Russell Brinklow, Duncan Matier.
Oh gosh.
I can't say hi to everybody because there is quite a lot of names appearing down the side, but fantastic to see you all. Thank you all for tuning in. And I think it'd be rude to do the first 5 minutes without pouring a dram. I'm thirsty already.
I'm just so nervous. Can we have a dram right now, please?
Absolutely. So we're going to start with your favourite GlenAllachie. We're going to start with, I asked you to pick a dram out of the whole range. Anything, you could have chosen anything you wanted, and you chose this one. So I'll hold it up.
Yay.
It's the GlenAllachie 15.
I love
it. You want to say
Yep.
a little bit about it, or do you just want to dive in and go from there?
You can use that glass if you want, Ben. It's fine. It's good.
I'll just drink it out of the bottle. I've got no problem. It's my Wi-Fi password. Bottle with a straw.
Oh dear. Then this will help cure the nerves. This is my very, very first ever Facebook live chat, so I apologise for the nerves, but it'll be fine in a wee minute.
Yeah, I'm going to say that actually. In fairness to Karen, this is her first ever live tasting, or internet tasting, Zoom tasting, whatever you want to call it. And I've got to say to all of the people tuning in, who I've no doubt will throw questions and comments and various things at her, please be nice this evening. I know Billy and Alistair and David's tasting had one or two below the belt comments coming in every now and again. So let's be nice to Karen this evening, and you can call me whatever you want later on. That's not a problem. So we're starting with the 15-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've got to admit, certainly out the core range, this is probably my go-to dram. I've grown an affinity for the 12-year-old PX, but you can't get it anymore. It's gone. It was part of our 2019 range.
Yep.
But the 15-year-old is just stunning.
That's absolutely beautiful. It used to be the 18 with me that I used to always go to, and then when Billy launched the 15 and I started getting onto it, I thought, oh, you know what? It's very similar in style to an old faithful of mine from days gone by. We'll just say that much. It's just that rich, beautiful flavour that you get from it. The butterscotch, the stewed fruits, it's just absolute. It's like one of that melt in your mouth drams. And it's a bit too modish. I must try and get another bottle because that's the end of my one tonight. So cheers to you, Ben.
Cheers to you, Karen. So yeah, no, it is my favourite in the core range. I don't know why I'm saying one of my favourites. It is. And every time I go back to it, I've only got one bottle in the house, and because I do lots of these online tastings and things, I keep having to hide it because I know what's going to happen. If I leave it there on the surface, it's gone. It's nothing lasts too long in my house, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
just it's maybe the evaporation rate with the heat we've had this summer.
The angel share is terrible. It's we've got a great question coming in now. Anybody that knows you knows about your love of dogs.
Oh,
I think it's fair to say there's definitely. I mean, there might be more than two, but there's definitely two great loves in your life. One is whiskey, and one is dogs. So the question comes from a Mr. Russell Brinklow, and it says that Karen's the face of the distillery, and that's so important. But one quick question: dogs or whiskey? What's it going to be?
Oh, dog in one hand, whiskey in the other. A bit of both. Can we mix it up?
I suppose it depends on the size of the dog.
It's true.
Or the size of the glass of whiskey. I mean,
it's fine. Yeah, a bit of both there, I think. To be honest, we've got, over the lockdown, we've had quite a nice surprise that one of my dogs I've bred with has got 6 healthy puppies. People that follow me on Facebook will have probably seen a picture, but maybe later on I'll maybe show you my puppies. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Maybe even get some help, maybe naming a puppy, if anybody's interested. It could be some interesting names, but it has to be whiskey related.
Okay.
Because the mum's called Fino, obviously after the Fino cask. The dad's called Copper, after, well, we live in Rothes, so we've got the stills that are made here, or Copper Dog, as we like to call them. So any name whiskey related for a little girl would be quite nice. If anybody wants to join in on that, just for a bit of fun. Okay,
all right. Well, everybody that's watching, get your thinking caps on. Stay tuned in, and by the end of the evening, we'll take a few suggestions and things. We have a little dog to name, whiskey related. It's got to be a search for a whiskey tasting. Let's name a dog during a whiskey tasting.
You can't do that at any other distillery's whiskey tastings now. Come on. Yeah, we're bringing out the big dogs here.
Absolutely. So before I start, I mean, I'm going to let a couple of questions build up. I can see a couple starting to come in, which is great. That's what we're here to do at the end of the day, is talk about GlenAllachie and a little bit about you. But I've got a question for you first. That, as I said, we've had a couple of what I will call brief encounters because everything went so crazy through March. but I don't think we ever really got a good chance to catch up and get to know each other as well as perhaps we should, and I'm sure we'll do. So I grew up in the industry. I had no choice. It was kind of, I think, remembering back to being 16, 17, and I went to a school that I won't name, but you kind of produced you either went and joined the army or you became a doctor. There wasn't a lot of difference between it. So, of course, there was me thinking, right, do I join the forces? What do I do? And my dad turning around to me saying, you do that, don't come home. Oh. I was like, all right, okay. So I didn't really have a choice. I grew up in the industry. I was told not to do that. So, I kind of fell into it. Mm-hmm. How did you end up working in the industry?
Right, be careful what we say here.
Sorry.
I was actually driving school buses at the time, driving for Firm in Huntly, where I used to live, and I took a group of children out to Distillery to give them a look around, see how distillation worked, and excellent project for them to learn. Met up with the head stillman, who I've known since I was a little kid, grew up knowing Gordy. And he grabbed me and just said, look, they're looking for tour guides. Would you be interested in doing some weekend work? To which I went, oh my God, no. I'm good with drinking and stuff, but I've never managed to tell you all about it. So within about 2 weeks, I had the job and I was there 9 years. So that's I just got kind of thrown into it as such and got on with it. So yeah, really, it was a good experience. Yeah. But I'm glad I did. I had never ever thought I'd ever see myself being in the industry, but always passionate about drinking the drams, especially with my grandparents, and even my dad likes a wee dram occasionally. But it was more of a social dram for us, the whiskey. But now it's kind of like more of a daily occurrence. I sound like an alcoholic, but oh well. As long as you're drinking the right stuff, it's fine.
Absolutely, yeah. There's no judgment coming from my side. It's
good. So yeah, just thrown into it.
I think I'm renowned for my descriptions as I have a breakfast whiskey. It's a lunchtime whiskey, a tea time whiskey. That's an after dinner one. That's something you can really savor. And people keep looking at me going, Ben, are you okay? And I'm just like,
have you got a wee problem there, Ben?
So don't worry.
Every day, every hour, there definitely is, isn't there? So much.
You need to start making 24 GlenAllachies. So it's I've got one for every hour of the day. Brilliant.
Oh, now get that written down. I'll ask Billy about that. Right, here's a wee thought for you, Billy.
Oh dear. So we've got.
It's good.
Quite interesting to see. We've got a couple of name suggestions coming in already.
Okay.
So I know you've got Fino as the mother. So
yep.
Somebody has recommended Jimenez. I'm assuming after Pedro Jimenez.
Yes.
Being a football fan, I think that's more of a boy's name than perhaps a girl's name.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a few sort of South American footballers that happen to carry that first name, so you never know. But it's up to you. We've got another, and somebody else has suggested cask 901037. So I would love to see the Fenton moment when that dog sprints off in another direction, chasing. It could be sheep, deer, rabbits, birds, anything, and you're going, cask 901037, come back.
No. Very nice name. That could be a posh name for a Sunday. We can just.
I mean, I 100% know why that's come about. That was one of the hand-fills, the 2005 was it Ola Russell Butt that we had on at the distillery, and it was incredible. I mean, color, style, everything about it was just amazing. And I was lucky enough to get to try it and sell a few bottles through the UK after the distillery closed, and it just went like that. It was gone. It was there 1 minute, gone the next.
It's just crazy how quick it did go. I believe it was one of them sort of ones. But there you go again. The sherry ones always seems to do the trick. It seems to be something that we're doing extremely developed by. The sherry maturation's amazing.
Absolutely. So I'll say thank you for the suggestion, but I must apologise if Karen doesn't decide to go ahead with that name.
Who gave us that one?
And what was that, sorry?
Who gave us that one?
Oh, I can check back through the name, through the range. The other one that we've got come through is Jigger.
Oh, that's cute.
Pardon?
That's quite cute, little Jigger.
So it's a gentleman called Stephen Cook, who said, would it be too much to ask to call the puppy cask number 901037, because that was my favourite.
If he's happy to walk the dog and shout the name to let, then he's more than welcome.
So,
no, it's excellent though. Yeah, come on, keep on, folks. Let's get some good names, and we'll put the names in a hat and see who the winner is. And I'm sure there'll be a dram for you the next time you're up at the distillery. Take your puppy to work day, meet the dog.
So we've got another question coming from a gentleman called Kevin Christie.
Kevin. Hello, Kevin. How are you doing?
I was just about to say who you may well know. And he says, Karen, if you could get stuck into anything sitting in the warehouse, what would it be?
Oh, gee whiz. God, there's so many, isn't there? Oh, I would imagine that it would be pretty much give me a avalanche and a bung extractor, close the door and leave me for a while, and I'll come out and tell you. Would that work? Not too worried about the glass either, you'll see.
I was going to say there's quite a few.
There's so many. It's there's so many interesting ones coming along as well. I mean, Billy's quite great with the experiments. He's not too shy of using a few, as we know, a lot of different maturation. It's so exciting to see what's coming. There's so much babies in there maturing nicely, and I'm looking forward to the future and seeing how this maturation works. And
no, absolutely. I think, I mean, there's some amazing stuff out there, and some of the sherry expressions, the 15-year-old, etc., really get me quite excited. I very much enjoy them.
What's your thoughts on the new wood finishes, Ben? Because I've never really had a chance to meet them yet. We've got them now in the shop, but it's the case of we've not got any open at the minute, so that's maybe something I'll have to change.
We'll change that quite quickly, but the muscatel is delicious. There's not a bad one there. I've kind of actually got them beside me, but this wasn't what we came on to talk about.
Sorry, no, it's my.
The 9-year-old rye is fantastic. It's something quite different for what I will call the traditional, what you'd expect from GlenAllachie, with the 15-year-old sherries, the 12, all the core range really are seeing quite a lot of sherry cask, but it's got that sort of little bit of honey and a little bit of citrus, floral notes and things coming through from the rye, and it's great. It's really, really, really good. It's really interesting. It's different. It's got so much to talk about. I'm going to keep this bit short because I've actually got another tasting where I'm doing this one tomorrow night, and I could talk about it forever. But it's great. The port cask, again, I don't want to say any of them are bad, because they're most certainly not. It's just probably out of the three, it's the one that's not my personal favourite, but I know many people that really, really like it. Muscatel's brilliant. Really, really tasty.
Can't go wrong with that, can you? Yeah. Would it be a breakfast dram?
11sies.
Oh well.
I'd hang on to brunch for that one. It's
I'll note it.
There's a few more I might have a little bit earlier, if I'm being totally honest. But you're making me out to be a total alky here. Right?
Sorry, I couldn't help that. Sorry.
That's all right. But yeah, no. So they're great, and we'll get some open, particularly with the shop reopening next Tuesday. I think it is. It's is it the 20th?
Yep, it will be. No, 21st. 21st. Yeah.
21st. 10 o'clock.
11. The new shop hours are now going to be from Tuesday to Saturday, and it's from 11 to 4. Just going by the current situation, we're not too sure where we stand, if we're going to be busy or not. There isn't going to be tours at the moment either, Ben, or tastings available. just due to the current situation, we're just trying to open the shop, come up and see us and have a look around. And obviously our 2 hand-fills, which we'll discuss in a wee minute, will be available in the shop there.
As the weeks go by, the aim is to do more and more and more, I'll say COVID permitting, as we can work around, regulations and various things. And hopefully in August, maybe. I'm nailing my head to the block here. It's, there's however many people watching that are all going to say, Ben said I could come and get a tour of the distillery in August. I'll say hopefully, if we can do it sensibly. Again, having had a few chats with various people, I think the mash tun was causing a few issues because obviously the washback, the mill room, everything's off that area. Gets a little bit difficult, but we're doing our utmost, and
absolutely
in very capable hands. I'm sure you will come up with a plan, and I'm putting the onus on you there. Sorry, but
we're trying our best. We just kind of want to get back to some normality as well, and see some of our diehards back. And of course, we're always willing to meet new folk as well, and give you the experience that I think everybody enjoyed last year and the start of this year. So it's just terrible how it's worked out now, because we were planning for big things and it just completely put us off track. But we'll get back.
Yeah.
Well, we're always more than welcome to come up past the shop and see us. So it would be lovely to see a few faces for a social distance hug, and just be nice to get back on some sort of form of normality, whatever that might be. So yeah, we'll get there.
So right. I've got one more question before we move on to the first hand-fill.
Yeah.
Which is really me saying, I've got one more question, just in case you've not finished that first dram. Just to give you a chance to catch up.
Go on.
Just in case. This is I'm used to drinking with people who don't necessarily go at the same speed. But I think
I'm about the same speed as you.
Brilliant. We'll get on like a house on fire. So again, coming in from Russell, serious question for you. How important is whiskey, and what's your favourite part of the process?
Oh, there's a really, really big question. Thanks. You can open that up to so much answers as well. I think, we see the whole lot. For the malt coming in to going out of spirit to being matured and then coming out the other side. So we're quite lucky being at the distillery. But for me, well, my father's a farmer, so we've got the harvest side as well. So we would see the barley being cut before it's even accepted to go into the malting for the distillery. So it's a kind of open book for me, but I like seeing it grown in a field and then finished off in the bottle, matured nicely in a cask along the way. So yeah, I would say so. I think so.
I mean, for me, David, our sales director, refers to me as a geek over and over and over and over, and I'd love to argue with him.
But you really are.
But I kind of am. And, I still remember day one going up to the distillery, and David just left me with Mike and Phil, mainly Mike, and just kind of said, right, I'll leave you with those. I've got a couple of things to go and do. And I was just like getting the sweet shot. I was like, this is great. There's the stills, there's the mash tun. And it's actually it's being in that, what I would call the beating heart of the distillery. It's being in amongst the mash tun, the washbacks, the stills, the horizontal condensers, all the things that make a distillery. I know the wood has a lot of importance in the warehouses and all these things, but for me, it's actually being in amongst it and seeing what happens. And, I've seen photographs of Juliet and Ronan and various others, moving casks about, even cleaning out that mash tun. And I'm sure Philip and Mike will probably hold me to this. I'd love nothing more than to actually climb inside it and clean it out. And I'm sure that's probably the job that they hate doing the most.
Pop you in there. The boys can go for a cup of tea, and we'll see you at the other side. I'm sure if Mike's on here, he'll agree. Just get your wellies on, Ben. You're more than welcome. I'm sure.
In a heartbeat. So for me, it's actually getting in there and getting in amongst it, and how it actually goes from those raw materials to that neat spirit coming out the other end. Don't get me wrong. I love the cask process, and it's one of the absolute key reasons I wanted to work for Billy Walker was
Mm-hmm.
the experimental sort of nature of Billy, the love of different types of oak and wood and various things. And, you know, there's so much going on in the background at GlenAllachie that, and I'm not going to give anything away, that's really exciting and really important too. But for me, it's got to be the...
And it came to the right for him when it comes to that, really, didn't you?
100%.
Absolutely.
So we're going to jump into the first hand fill. And while I'm pouring it and while you're pouring it, I'm hoping I've got the right one. Got a little cask number here on the go. So
yeah, that's the one that
5923 is the cask number. And we've got a question come in from Philip Dixon, which is directed straight to you, Karen, saying, what is your favourite hand fill so far?
Oh, no. I knew somebody was going to ask that. It's a bit like who's your favourite child, or who's your favourite dog in my case. To be honest with you, I think it's probably Chinkapin.
Okay.
And I'm normally a right sherry head, as anybody on here will tell you, but the Chinkapin was so different and so lovely. It was so unique in character. It was one of those Marmite drums, you know, if you said to people Chinkapin, you explained it and they went, oh, that can. The minute they got the drum under their nose and had a sip, you kind of saw them going, okay, yeah, I understand this now. So it was one of those sort of ones that was quite nice to explain to folk and enjoy with, not with them, of course, at home for my own drum in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
See, it was one of that ones that was nice to introduce folk to. Because it's not one that's used, I didn't think, that often with other distilleries. Maybe one or two have done it.
No, not at all. I've only come across 2, maybe 3 other distilleries using Chinkapin oak at the moment. I mean, that's not to say they haven't got them aging, but it's not a common release, I think it's fair to say.
I think it was quite a cool one because I know that Billy wouldn't mind talking about it, but he kind of toyed with the idea of having 2 sherry casks on the go, maybe a PX and an Oloroso, because sherry casks are kind of the king, really, when it comes to the maturation Billy does, but kind of decided against that and had something completely polar opposite. Well, you couldn't have done more opposite to your sherry baby that was in with it. So it was really nice to have the comparison drams, which a lot of folk bought both because they were so different. So it was nice to have that sort of like unique tasting. It was cool using it for the connoisseur tours as well, you know, where you could sit down and show you what exactly we could do within different casks and how they worked. So it was quite a bit of fun as well. Yeah. Well, I'm holding myself back here. Cheers.
I was going to say, while you taste that, I've got a couple of other dogs' names come through. So we've got Graham Golly Gal.
That's Graham. Graham works in the warehouse. Hi, Graham. Hi, Golly. How you doing?
Oh, for the dog's name.
Oh, I like that.
Jeremy Watt coming in with Bunghole. Mike Stewart suggesting Aki, Rocky, Copper, Drama, Mash, Tot, or Barley.
They're good.
So
okay, after I get these written down, I'll have to go back through them and write them all down. Definitely. Some really nice ones here.
Loads flying through there. And then we've got a question from John Creasy asking what the breed is.
The breed are purebred border collies. Okay. So they're working dogs. They're working potlickers with me. They're just absolute, just pet dogs to me. But yeah, they're quite cute.
And then he also goes on to say, please say hi to Jeanette, who is the absolute #1 dog lover, but doesn't appreciate whiskey. So, hi, Jeanette.
Hello, Jeanette.
There's a whiskey for everyone. You've just not found yours yet. That's what I'm going to say. But anyway, let's move on to this hand fill. So the cask number is 5923. These are only going to be available through the distillery and distillery shop at the moment. So unlike I know some of the other ones that we've touched on in recent weeks, you'll have to come and see Karen's smiling face to get hold of these. This particular one is a Ruby Port Hogshead, 54.2 ABV, and 11-year-old.
Yep.
2009.
No, it's 2008. Sorry, this one. 2008.
That's why I corrected.
I've just checked it now as well, so I've just scrolled down a quick overview of it, but yeah.
I mean, this is the first time I've tasted it and nosed it, and
Yep.
certainly no complaints from me. That's
So there you go again. There's a couple of different ones for your hand-fills in the shop. Again, completely different to what we've had previously. So it's nice that Billy's done that for.
well, we've not said what the next one is yet. So I'm keeping the suspense. I'm aiming to keep people tuned in, so they've got to wait to find out what it is. But no, I mean the red fruits and things on the nose of that.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
You've got those sort of. I don't know how to. I mean, I call it almost big barley sugars. You know, the old boiled sweets that is very typical across the GlenAllachie range. You get this huge amount of sort of malty, fruity nose coming through, which is fantastic, and that shows through on this. But then there's that, you know, raspberries and strawberries and tayberries, and there's all sorts coming through there, which is just great.
All I keep getting is like ripe bananas on that. There's a lot of that coming through, but again, everybody's nose is different.
No,
and it's very syrupy, almost treacly as well, which is really, really nice. So it's kind of, and it's not too spirity, you know, it's got a lovely nose on it.
I was just about to say, you know, I've always been coming from an independent bottler prior to this into GlenAllachie. One of my big criticisms of old spirit, even before that, has always been too much alcohol.
Yeah. That's when you get it in your nose and you kind of give it like, oh, you feel it almost burning.
100%. But that's so well balanced.
I mean, 11 years old, it's still a baby in the scheme of things.
Yeah.
You know? But I reckon if you can actually hold that up for folk to actually see the colour on that, and we look at the lights.
Probably a little better in the light I have, but it's got a beautiful. I'm not quite sure if you're getting the same pinky hue that I am, but it's.
You can arm that as well.
It's just I think your background, your lighting's probably better than mine, but it's just delightful. And a hot head as well. So, you know, most people think pot pipes, you know, the very biggest.
Huge.
Yeah, I remember being on here with Lindsay a few weeks ago. I think I was in the background for that. Was I in the background? I've done that many of them. I can't remember if I was, you know, probably in the background or not. And Lindsay was like, "Oh, they're the worst casks to work with because they're so big." And but actually, this is a hog's head, so it's going to have had much more interaction over a shorter period of time. You know, so the smaller the cask in general, the sort of faster the melding and interaction. But it's just delightful.
Yeah. It's one of that sort of ones that you could go back to and revisit, and I bet you'll get even more characters on it now. The longer you're leaving it to breathe, I think it's opening up a wee bit more, because mine was quite cold, but once it gets up to room temperature, there's a lot more got to come through on the nose on this. Yeah, I'm actually going to try and leave, it wouldn't be easy, but leave a tiny bit on the glass and just sit with it a wee while this evening and just work on a few of my tasting notes for it myself.
I'm just going to smile and nod because I don't trust myself to leave a little bit in the glass.
I have a little bit more to top up on later, so we're okay. So
I might have to hand this off to my other half and just say, here, you run away with that. But the problem is I don't
somewhere.
Another couple of names for the pup coming through. So somebody suggested Rioja. Somebody else has Tony Roseanne has come in and said, hi, Betha.
Say again?
Betha?
Betha?
Beatha.
Okay.
I forget my pronunciation if I'm getting that wrong. But so there's another one.
That's good ones. I see I've got a few questions coming in down at the side of my screen as well. Are you getting them?
Yeah. No, I'm probably just moving through the feed a little bit slower than you are. There's a lot of people wanting to know all sorts, a lot of dog suggestions. So I'm about halfway through everything that we have, trying to sort of, you know, I'm trying to keep the drams going, trying to answer people's questions. You know, give people
I'm amazed. You've impressed me tonight. I didn't know you could multitask. I'm quite impressed with that.
Well, I mean, the honest answer is, and I was in the pub until what? And I refrained. Well, no, I didn't refrain. I restrained myself So I was very sensible because I knew that yeah, I knew that I needed to try and do my best to guide you through. Not having done one of these before, I didn't want to just start.
No, you've done a good job.
So anyway, Mike Stewart, so Inverurie Whiskey Shop, saying he loves 9-year-old rye, but again, he's agreeing with me. Muscatel's the one, and he's saying he preferred last year's port. Okay. But he's asking, how about Koval for the dog's name?
Well, that's nice as well, isn't it? Yeah. I'm going to have to write all these down at some point, but I'll get them from, I'm sure, on here. I'll have to look back later and find them. But
he's also fired a great question here for you.
Oh,
so, Karen, from your vast experience, what's the number one question asked by visitors? And as part of this question, if you're allowed to say, which question do you hate answering the most?
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. So the most unusual question, what's the first one?
So it's, what is the question you're asked the most? And then which question do you hate answering the most?
Probably, what's your favourite whiskey? You get asked that quite a lot. What's the one I wouldn't like answering? That's a really difficult one, Michael. You've put me right on the spot. I'll be texting you later.
Well, while you think about that, Mike, one of our production team, is inviting me along to clean tomorrow.
Yay!
Unfortunately, I am in the office tomorrow, and that's not me trying to get out of it, but I know that I might be up at some point next week, so I'd be delighted to chip in and help out. Failing that, I know Ronan and I'm not getting Ronan involved here. I know Ronan are trying to come up to the distillery at some point in August, so if it fits, I'd be delighted to jump in there.
That'll be brilliant.
You go get yourself a cuppa, and I'll
do
get
this. Go on. That could be really interesting.
Question you hate answering the most.
What's your favourite distillery? Now that opens up a whole new. It's something that I'm not even willing to sit here and answer tonight because there is.
It's a question I had on my list, so I'll just score that one out now. And, we'll save
it's
that.
Like a huge can of worms, that one, isn't it? Really.
It is.
There's so many. There you go. There's your answer. But yeah, we'll get asked that quite a lot. What's your favourite whiskey or what's your favourite distillery? So.
And then a question that I'm dying to know the answer for, because I know there's all sorts of weird and wonderful things happened on tours and in distilleries. But what's the craziest thing a visitor has done on tour? And that's coming from Jeremy Watt.
Oh, Jeremy, you'll love this one. I'm not sure if you met this guy, but he had a pet rat, a toy. I'll just get that out there now. And he's got a Facebook page for him and everything. So he took him on tour. And he sat him at the stills and he sat him at the mash tun and everything. And he put these pictures up on his Facebook page of this. I can't even remember his name. He's on Facebook. So he had his little pet toy rat with him in his wee kilt and everything on. Yeah. That'd probably be the most random ones. Yeah, because I got to speak to the rat on the tour because it needed to know what was going on. So I had to tell him all about the maturation process. He took everything in. He was really good. He was quite quiet. But yeah.
It reminds me of the mouse at Tio Pepe, the Gonzales Bias, the sheriff. If you ever go on a tour there, they've got a mouse that follows you around the tour and dips into the sherry casks.
It's very random, very, very random. But you get quite a lot of people with our wee friends that come around to visit you. My favourite one, and I'm hoping that she might be watching, but there's a lady called Sue that lives locally, and she's got a really cool, he's called Drambo. He's a little penguin, and he comes to visit, and he's got his little pin badges on and everything. But he's been to more distilleries than any of us put together, that wee lad. He's well travelled. Yeah, it's quite interesting. And it's just something unusual, isn't it? It's something quite fun. Yeah.
I've got Fiona. I'm laughing. I've got Fiona from our marketing team chipping in here saying, "Are you sure it's not? Can I get a free whiskey?"
Oh well, there's that to it as well. You do get that quite a lot, especially if they've been maybe on a connoisseur's experience and they've had 5 good drams. and they'll come into the shop, I haven't tried that one yet, and they'll be pointing to the shelf, but they've already tried it, but they want to revisit it because they can't quite remember how it tasted. So yeah, we do get that quite a lot. I haven't tried it yet. No, you really have. But
yeah, well, I'm going to say the same thing again as I said in the last one. So my glass is empty already. So I'm going to take a question very quickly while you perhaps empty your glass, or if not, get ready to pour the next one. And it's coming from, and forgive my pronunciation of the name here. I do my best for everyone that we do. We get people from all over the world coming in, and Mirjam, I think, Mirjam, I think is how we say the name. And it's saying, is it possible to order merchandising? They'd love to have it. And next year, they're hopefully going to try and come over in May. I'm going to say we don't currently sell online. However, we do have a range of products available in the shop. We have, glasses, hoodies, t-shirts, polos, jumpers, fudge, key rings, coasters. There's a whole pins. There's a whole host of things available on site at the distillery. We do not operate online. So unfortunately, at present, we're not geared up to ship it out. However, if you are visiting in May, there is literally a treasure trove in Karen's little shop waiting for you, as well as the whiskey. To pair with the whiskey, you can go for just about, there's a whole host of different things, either GlenAllachie branded, infused, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So, are you ready? I've got my next cask sample to hand.
Ready.
Fantastic. Let's go. So I love that noise. Oh,
that's a good draft.
So this is cask number 4635.
Yep.
And it is a Rioja barrel, or to give it its full title, proper title, Rioja Barrique, wine barrel. It is 13 years old, bottled at 59.5 ABV.
Yep.
And I'm going to be honest, I don't have the exact AYS in front of me. So would I be correct in thinking that the age is 2007? Or is it is 2007.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So just before we go into this, because I know there's going to be a couple of questions flying around about this. Price point on these in the shop. So the Ruby Port that we've just tasted is £100 a bottle.
Yep.
The Ruby Port Hand-fill, the 11-year-old. And the Rioja 13-year-old that I have in my hands right now is 110.
Yep.
So if you are able to make the pilgrimage to visit Karen, please do. And they are, as I said, they are available from next Tuesday, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
I expect a queue. I think you're going to have an orderly queue. I'm going to give the GlenAllachie lovers benefit of the doubt, although having one or two of them, you never know. But an orderly queue.
Yeah, we'll like that. Mm-hmm. You'll be for a stick, some of them, I tell you.
So anyway, yes. So
yeah, we've got you'll see this, and again another point, but we've done really well in marking out the car park, and we've got the places to stand in as you come into the shop now. It'll be explained a little bit later, I think. But we've got a wee system in place where when you get to the door, you've got to keep your distance as you would in a normal shop. But we've got a wee doorbell on outside now, so that you just give it a wee ring, and then we come and say hi and welcome you in. But, we've got some gloves, face masks, but most people are knowing that they're going to a shop with their face masks on now. It's kind of like the new normal. But I'm sure that'll be explained a lot clearer to you later on. But yeah, it'd be cool to see folk up, and I know I've got a fair idea once the new handfills are on who at least two of my first customers will be. I've got, yeah.
I'm looking at the column down that right hand side. I think you're going to have more than one or two.
Oh, is there?
Wow. Can I be your first customer? So I'll have a Rioja barrel, please, Karen.
Just the whole bottle, yeah, just with a straw.
The whole barrel right now.
That's lovely, though, isn't it?
That is absolutely delicious. The colour, it's got a salmon pinky hue to it. I could stick my nose in that for months. and never get bored.
That's really, really nice.
And
That's a dangerous dram, Ben. That's very dangerous.
The palate is delightful. And I was saying it before about too high in ABV. I'm very sensitive to it. When I did all my wine exams and various things, over alcohol wine was my absolute pet hate, and it came with me into the spirits business. But it's 59.5%, 59.5 ABV.
Mm-hmm.
You could have told me it was in the 40s, and I would have believed you wholeheartedly. I would have, no questions asked. I would have just said, you know what it is, great. And now I'm quite frightened to drink too much of this.
Yeah. It's one of that kind of dangerous drams where you might go back for another one just to try it again.
While we're tasting that, great question coming in. Kevin Christie.
Oh, Kevin.
Saying, please can we have another Legacy Day?
Oh, Kevin really enjoyed that one, didn't you?
I wasn't here for the Legacy Day, so I don't know what that entails. So I'm quite interested to find out, because I might have to take a day off and come up for that.
Well, I think you need to come up and help with that one, Ben. That's a really good day.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
It was excellent. Really good fun. It's amazing how much folk we got coming in and enjoying the day with us. And everybody worked really hard on it, but it was nice for folk to revisit. There was a lot of the ex-distillery workers it was for, so they came up. Like Sir Kevin that's asking the question, his father used to work at GlenAllachie. So Kevin grew up knowing a lot about the distillery, and he came up with a good few of his friends and had a good walk around. And Fiona made absolutely delicious cupcakes, which went down a storm. We had a wee buffet for them, and with cups of tea and a few wee drams. And
free food and whiskey.
They got a wee sample of the whiskey home with them as well. We'll put a little whiskey in a wee glass bottle for them. Yeah, it's a good day. Kevin was the very first person. Yeah.
I was going to say, anybody in the office.
Very first person to buy the bottle of 15-year-old.
Oh, wow.
It went on sale that day, and Kevin that's asking the question was the very first person to come into the shop and buy a bottle of the 15, because there's a wee picture on our Facebook page of me and him. We're like building little and large. Him with a hairy beard and everything in this bottle, and there's me standing at his shoulder. It was quite fun. It was a really good day. What a laugh. Yeah, we should definitely, Fiona is in the background listening tonight, so it's maybe something we could think about again.
She's saying that we will consider this in the future, but it has to be, unfortunately, when we can have groups back to the distillery. It's going to be COVID permitting, I'm afraid. And by the sounds of things, I mean, anybody in the office will tell you, if there's free food on offer,
you're there.
Forget the free whiskey. Well, no. Free whiskey, the food, but the food's important too. The size I am now without without missing meals. Let's put it that way. But sorry, if I had missed meals. But anyway. Is it? Can I get? I'm just scrolling through all of the various things. Philip Dixon coming in asking, any idea how many visitors you had to the distillery last year?
Oh my goodness, there was so many.
Now I'm getting told that pretty sure it was over 1,500, but Karen might know better. But
I think it was that or more. I'm not sure if Graham's here. Graham started with me after a wee while after, but I'm sure there might have been a wee bit more than that. But we were writing down our visitor numbers, but I'm sure there was maybe one or two of them slipped the net and we forgot to write them down. So yeah, around about that, if not a wee bit more. But yeah, it was extremely busy. It was fun.
Speaking of Graham, or shall I call him your wingman?
I'm a wingman, yeah.
He's chimed in as well, saying, so Karen, who tells the best jokes on a tour?
Graham, know it's you.
Or is it your wingman, Graham, he says.
I told him today that he needs to work on his jokes for when we come back. He needs to work on his material. So I hope he's there listening and sitting there with his joke book practicing. But yeah, we've had some funny times, I tell you. We make each other laugh on a daily basis. That's always a good sign of a good team. Yeah, definitely. I'm glad he came on board with us. We're lucky, really lucky. A lot of that wooden casks in the shop, you've maybe not seen them yet, Ben, but they're really, really nice. The rest of the team have seen them.
Yeah, no,
all that. Yeah.
Believe it or not, I've been up a few times over the past few months, whether it be, getting hand fills, whether it be, just getting samples for Billy, for example. I'm living the furthest north without being right up on Speyside or sort of Aviemore area. I've been doing the run up for sample and various things just to keep the core range bottlings and stuff going. Because without that, it's so no. I've seen them a few times and they're fantastic bits. So Graham, real asset.
Yeah, I would say so. Absolutely, and it's nice to have somebody that you can work alongside that knows exactly what you're thinking next. If there's guests in, we work around each other and we make it a really nice, smooth experience. We give people the jokes, or that's Graham's field. We have a good laugh with them, and it's always encouraging people to come back. And it's nice when they recognise that a decent tour, or in this case now, a decent shop experience. So,
I love this comment that's come through. So, just going back a little bit to that 1,500 visitors, is it more or is it less? We're pretty sure it's more. And Jeremy Watt chiming in saying, I'm pretty sure that 100 or more of those visitors were Ali Milton.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's like what would you say about Ali? He's a repeat offender. I say it so nicely, but he's there more than we are. It's great. Glad he's got that job offshore to keep him going with all these bottlings he buys. Tell you. Now, joking aside, we're lucky, Ben, because as you know, we get a lot of guys from overseas that want to purchase hand-filled bottles.
Yep.
So I'm hoping this doesn't add to Ali's collection, but Ali will come up and we'll do some handfuls for him, and then he posts them off to people, say in Germany or overseas, which is really kind of him. It's taken time out of his day to come and do that, but as he says, he's coming up for his own ones anyway, so he doesn't mind helping out a few fellow GlenAllachie fans. So it's nice to have somebody like Ali on board. Yeah. So Ali, I'll see you. Try and come maybe on Wednesday so we get time to get the hand bottles out, would you please? Thank you. That's perfect. Just get out there just in case he's watching.
Absolutely. Yeah, she's got to get mine bottled off first.
This is it. I think a truckload going down the road.
Get in the queue. So anyway, next question coming in from Duncan Mateer. The two new hand fills that we're looking at here tonight. So we've got the port cask in this hand, slightly darker, slightly deeper red. We've got the Rioja cask, this beautiful salmon pink. And absolutely delicious. I mean, I thought the port cask was good. The Rioja for me is just downright dangerous. But anyway, the question before I go off topic. Are the new hand fills finishes or fully matured? So they are finishes. They have been the majority of the liquid that we have coming out. They are finishes. They're coming through ESBs, American standard barrels, bourbon casks, etc., and then being re-racked into various types of liquid to give a finish for a period of time, usually 18 months, sometimes 2 years, sometimes, slightly more, slightly less. Again, it varies depending on when the liquid's right. Anybody that knows and followed Billy for years and years and years should know by now. It is, I'm sure somebody will chime in and correct me. Please don't. I don't know that Billy has bottled that has not been, ready to go kind of thing. It's had that perfect. That's what he had. He won Master Distiller, Master Blender of the Year at the Icon of Whiskey Awards again this year.
That was the highlight for me.
I won't say the age he is, but at the age he's at, to still be doing that year after year after year after year,
he's got young pop.
Absolutely. Oh God, yeah.
He's not long with shorts, It's just not long with shorts,
He's got years to go yet. Little does he know we're going to pickle him in a barrel when the time comes.
And just have him in the tasting group, just on display. He's amazing what he does. Absolutely brilliant, and the dedication he puts in to coming up and doing all his sampling. I don't get how on earth he's enough hours in his day. He must never sleep, the man.
I was in the office in Coatbridge today, and Billy was out of bed at God knows what hour, up to the distillery,
Yeah.
sampling, racking, the works.
Whole lot.
And then by 2:30, 3 o'clock, he'd come all the way down from Aberlour, was back in the office at Coatbridge,
Oh
on
my
his
goodness.
laptop, emails, spreadsheets, getting everything completed to make sure that he was done for the day. And it was just, I hope I have the energy, the passion, the commitment by the time I get to, and I won't say it, I wanted to do a birthday bottling for him this year. I was told I wasn't allowed to do it. So
Oh, it would have been amazing. That would have been really cool.
But
definitely have to think about doing that again. Because could you imagine everybody would love that? All the guys on here would certainly buy one. A special Billy bottling.
So I've got a question come in that you might know the answer to. Now, I am a self-professed geek, perhaps. Certainly, the rest of the team has me down as one, and I don't know the answer to this. I'm going to hold my hands up and say I'm not sure. But Mike Stewart's saying, what is the moisture content of the soil used to grow the barley at GlenAllachie? Now,
I'm not sure about GlenAllachie because this is up on the Murrayshire here, Speyside, isn't it? I'm thinking more about the moisture contents back home when I was at the other end of the country. I'm not too sure what it would be up here. I can find out for you. I can ask my dad because he checks all the moisture and the soils and stuff. So It's not high moisture by any means. It's quite dry ground we've got up here. But that's something, Mike, that I can private message you. I can ask my dad if he knows because he does a lot of the farms around here as well for the barley. So I can have an ask. Unless Mike's on and he knows through the merchant or through Philip or somebody, maybe he could jump in if he does. But if you don't get the answer, Mike, I'll get back to you on that one. I wouldn't like to tell you what it used to be back home because it'll be completely polar opposites up here. So,
well, that's fine. I mean, please see me.
Mike's just come in. He says it's really wheat. So there's your answer. Right, Mike. Thank you very much for that, Michael. It's really wheat.
Well,
answer.
If you do get an answer to that, CC me in because I'd be quite interested.
No, I'll definitely copy you in. It's interesting for us as well, which will change. It does change every time they do a harvest because if you've had a wee bit more rain, for example, then you cut it early, your moisture will be completely different in your soil. So you've got to be a wee bit careful when it comes to getting it right. Yeah. Okay. Oh God, the farmer's daughter just came out of my there, didn't it?
There's a group. Actually, I've got to pause you for a second because we have had a comment come in from Ali Milton, so I'm going to read it out. It's been discussed so many times over the course of tonight. And he says, hi, everyone. I'm really sorry I can't join in right now, but I hope you're all having a great dram or a fine dram. I'm enjoying the Inverurie Whiskey Shop single cask at the moment. He says, and it's absolutely delicious.
Excellent.
So he is thinking about us. He is enjoying a GlenAllachie at present. And I have no doubt he will be visiting you quite soon. So it's good to know that he's there, but he's not watching live at the moment. But I'm sure he'll end up watching this back at some point.
Oh, I hope so. I'll get some comments, no doubt.
We'll take a couple of one or two more very quickly, and then we'll talk about your wee doggy. Before we finish. So very quickly, Graham chiming in again saying, Karen, who pours the biggest dram?
Oh, Graham, definitely. 100%. I always use the pouring measures. Yeah.
But there's another comment come in there from, and again, forgive the pronunciation of the name. I am very sorry, but Meer Jam, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have a very good Dutch friend called, we all call him Gerrit, but I know it's actually Gerrit. I can't get the enough phlegm there, so I have no doubt I am pronouncing your name incorrectly, and I am terribly, terribly, terribly sorry. So, I'm saying, when will the Rioja cask be in Holland? Unfortunately, this particular one is exclusive to the distillery shop. It can only be bought in the distillery shop. So I am very sorry at the moment, but you never know what may come in the future. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. So, any more questions that you can see there?
I'm saying. I mean, I'm sure there are. I'm sure there's more coming through. But I'm looking at the time. It's 2 minutes to 8. Doggy.
Go and bring out the puppy.
We said we were going to name this pup. So come on then.
Will I go and take the puppy through and let you see it?
Yeah, let's go.
Would you like to see it? Just give me a second. I'll go and get her.
Stunning. The Rioja cask is, out of the two, my favourite. Nothing wrong with the port hogshead at all, but that Rioja barrique is absolutely delightful. I might have to ask for a pay rise so I can afford some more.
Hello, everybody. We're back.
So, have any of the names tempted you so far this evening?
There is one or two. Oh, hi. Speak of you. Oh, dear. It's okay, you're not bad used. I'm going to have to go through all the names and have a look. Shush. I'm not hurting it, I promise. I think we could call it squeak. Look at it. Oh, it's missing its family. Here, go down there and see your mum. Go on, Mum. There's quite a few good ones, but I'm going to sit down and I'm going to all the ones I really like, and we can kind of put a name in a hat and we can draw the winner. How does that sound?
Absolutely. We can add it onto the end of the feed so that everybody that knows and's taken part, sees it, and we'll go from there.
Or maybe we can get Fiona to put up a wee post with a picture of the puppy, and then the winner is of the name of the puppy. It's amazing what you can do during this lockdown thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, shush. Yeah. So that'll be it. No, that's brilliant. I've almost finished my dram as well. It was absolutely delicious. I've really enjoyed our talk tonight. I've enjoyed all the questions. If there's any more questions, fire away. But if not, I'll just finish this.
Absolutely. Well, if there are any more questions, please still add them on at the end of the feed. Over maybe this evening or maybe tomorrow morning when I'm back in the office, we'll do our best to answer those questions. I think it's important to say thank you so much. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in this evening. It's been wonderful to sort of have you here and talk through these two, Karen's favourite dram, the 15, but also these two fantastic new hand-fills that are available in the Distillery shop. And please remember, the Distillery shop is reopening next Tuesday, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
You'll see Karen's smiling face if you are able to make it down, and these two new casks, hand-filled casks, will be available on the day. So I just got to say thank you so much, Karen. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on this evening for your first. It's over now. You can relax. But your first online tracing with GlenAllachie, and I'm sure there'll be more to come. I'd like to have you back. So thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you've enjoyed it.
Thanks for looking after me. Thank you for looking after me. The nerves are completely gone, but I think that 3 whiskies has definitely helped. I've enjoyed that, and I would like to say thanks to everybody who joined in, because it's amazing the amount of names you rattled off that were on there. We've probably missed heaps of them, but a lot of regulars, and it's nice to see that you're still supporting us, and I hope everybody's keeping safe and keeping well, and hopefully getting back to some sort of form of normality. But I've heard that a good GlenAllachie whisky does help with the coronavirus. It's a good prevention, apparently. Yeah, so no for washing your hands with, just doing the neck, and it'll help with your system. So I'll recommend that today. You think I was murdering this puppy?
Anyway, thank you all so much. I do apologise if anybody hasn't had their name read out or hasn't been mentioned. There were so many of you coming through saying hello at one point that I have no doubt I've missed one or two. So, hello to everybody. We did not miss you intentionally. And we will both be delighted to welcome you to the distillery at some point in the near future.
Absolutely.
I think, Slanjivar. And cheers.